ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Think Global podcast. I'm your host, International Seth, and today's date is February 4th, 2021. I got one of my old teammates from way back in the day coming on with me today, coming to us all the way from Seoul, South Korea. My man, Daniel Sandrin. What's up, Danny?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me on, you Seth. Long time
Hey,
no see.
hey, man, really, really good to see you, man. When I see you, it brings back so many memories when we were in the trenches over at Seattle Pacific University. Yeah, so it's good to see
Definitely.
you. Shout out to your brother Eric, man. Telling him I said what's up, and let's get into this interview, man. I'm excited because I think our guests will be appreciative of someone like yourself. Your story about how you grew up in the States, but then you kind of went overseas and you kind of made a living for yourself overseas. So we'll get into all that. But before we do, we want to get you on the world call. Okay, that's when you give our guests 10 seconds to name off some of the countries that you've been to. So right now we're gonna put Danny Sandrin on the world call. Go.
Okay. Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, France, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and last one I'm gonna do China. There we
Okay.
go.
All right, all right, all right. So you see, my man is a well-traveled individual. Lots in South America, Asia, and Europe. So Danny, man, let's just flash back quickly to our season. Our we spent 2 years together at SBU, and
Yeah. Yeah.
my particular my most favorite memory of the SBU was our junior year because I think our junior year was like, man, we had a stacked team. Some of
We
the
were
people in the
tough.
state besides Gonzaga. I know Washington, UW had a down season that year, and Washington State was always down previously towards that. But some were saying that our program was actually the second best in the state behind Gonzaga. You want to just like talk about some of the memories you had and some of the guys we played with?
Man, I just think like that the team we had, I would say SPU, it was just we had a lot of D1 transfers like myself, like we had a lot of talent. Man, I think we could have taken on anybody, honestly. Like we were a D1 team playing at the D2 level, you know?
Yeah.
Like
For sure. I think
that's what
one
I would
thing
say.
one thing that's unique about Seattle Pacific is when we played the other colleges, D2 colleges around the
Hmm.
nation, they were always like far away in like very rural areas, way away from major
Yeah,
cities.
yeah,
But Seattle Pacific was like right down, just opposite of downtown Seattle. So I think that's something that gave it advantage for guys like yourself and Eric who
yeah.
have transferred from Division 1 to come play at a powerhouse D2.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the culture there, like we always had the open runs at our team. So Jamal Crawford come down, like all the local talent would always gather. The Sonics used to, I mean, we used to have NBA practices when they come to play the Sonics. And we had a legacy of overseas players always coming back in the summertime to train with us. And that definitely made us all, I would say, made us grow as players. So,
Definitely. I remember one time you're right that you brought that up. I had left to go to class to go down into the locker room. Maybe I don't know what I was doing, and I stepped in foot into the gym. I saw the Milwaukee Bucks playing. I was like, "Damn,
yeah,
they're going Ray Allen,
yeah,
right? he's in the gym, like they're going Ray
man.
Ray."
I used to love it. Like, I mean, honestly, we had the pro-am there. One summer, I remember I came in hungover and dropped a 50 piece. And it was just like, it was just about pride. And, it was mixed teams. Like UW had guys on that team, all of our like players playing in other cities. And I remember when Desmond Mason, at the time, he was a dunk champion. He used to come down to our open gyms. His girlfriend played soccer for SPU. So we had a lot of good memories just hooping down there.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, man. So that was that. We want to get into what you kind of did after SPU. I've heard a little bit about your career, but it's kind of vague. I know that you're doing well in South Korea, and you had made it to the national team and stuff. So after 2003, what was your course of action making a transition from college to playing in South Korea?
Man, so we're talking back in the day before YouTube, like sending out like CDs to agents and all that kind of stuff. But I was fortunate. My brother was just already had a job in Europe playing in Luxembourg. So he just said, Dan, come out and visit. I came out and visited, and he started like throwing me out on tryouts. And that's how I kind of stuck. I got a job in Germany my first year, lower level, second division team. and kept working myself up. And then, it was just word of mouth back in those days. Now it's like so sophisticated. Kids can just, everyone's got their social media presence and, breaking ankles daily and all the YouTube channels and everything. But then Eric was playing at the Globetrotters, and he got a call to go to South Korea. And Eric, at that time, he was playing NBA Summer League for the Lakers. He was like, nah, but take my brother. I don't want to go, but take my brother. And that turned out to be the money trip, just happens like that.
So kind of explain like South Korea. What were they saying? What did they wanted you to do, and what was like your course of action? What obstacles did you face moving to South Korea?
Man, you don't even know, bro. Like the culture. Like, so first of all, I didn't know anything about South Korea. My mom's South Korean, but I don't like never lived there. I was actually trying to get Italian citizenship through my dad to go play in Italy. But then they were like, yeah, we'll take care of your stuff. And they're sponsored by these big companies like Samsung, Hyundai Motors. So they're paying like NBA salaries. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I got on that plane, and yeah, the culture is crazy because they go year round. There's really no season. And it's very militaristic. Like you got to bow your head, no talking back to the coach. Like just, but if you fall in line, it's really high reward. And so, yeah, I just kept my head down, did the work, and ended up making it in Korea, and ended up giving up my U.S. citizenship to play for national team, and had an opportunity to play against. I mean, it's different, man. Like you play for your city, you play for your club, you might play on the state team or whatever. To put a whole country patch on your chest and play against, I'm not playing against, Portland. I'm playing against China, or you know what I mean? So it's kind of like some crazy experiences, but it was good.
Man, that's definitely cool, man. I definitely want to get into your national team experience, but I wanted to ask, so so they had like a draft and you were drafted, or did you just get stuck and put right on the team right
Uh,
away, or how did that work?
so so I had to actually go back to college. So the team that was sponsoring me was
Okay.
like, "Oh, you can help us win the college like their NCAA championship." So I was like, "Yeah, if you guys help me go pro, cool." Because there's nobody like me. I was the first, like the pioneer. There was no half Korean guy, and so it's just weird. Like going there, there's a lot of discrimination against half Koreans, and like that's another issue. But yeah, they took me on. I went back to college. I played for about 6 months, and then they sent me pro in the college draft. So yeah, it was just amazing. It's just like a kind of a phenomenon. But yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, man. So yeah, so you really expecting this, right? And then all the kind of well, it didn't fall in your lap. You was obviously proactive, but you got
Yeah,
really
yeah.
you got a really good opportunity. So how many years in total did you play in South Korea?
Like you, man, I played. I think okay, so I played 12 years pro. 10 of those in South Korea, 2 of them in Europe. But yeah, so and I think about where I would have been, climbing the ladder. Climbing the ladder in Europe, you start off with the, $2,000, and then you work 250, and you keep
Yeah,
going up. And maybe by now I'm making like 10,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
um, off those 1 year contracts if you're lucky and stay healthy. But yeah, I think going to Korea and getting that 5 year contract where you're guaranteed, and I think that gives you a lot of peace of mind when you're playing.
Man, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that. So the Korean basketball league is called the KBL, right? And how many teams?
KBL, correct?
Yeah, how many teams does it have? And like, what's the kind of fabric of it? How is it made up?
So we got 10 teams. 2 of them in Seoul, which is basically half the country lives in Seoul, and it's getting more developed now. They're starting a Asian league, like the East Asia League, where it's going to be kind of like the Champions League of Asia for basketball. But yeah, it's just set up like 10 teams, but we play like an NBA schedule. So I think we have 10 teams. NBA has like 30 something, but we play the most amount of games in the whole world as far as leagues are concerned. We play a lot of games, man. Like 3 games a
Wow,
week.
3 games a
Yeah, it's
week.
crazy.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah, that I mean the NBA probably plays four, so
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sometimes
It
three.
takes
Yeah.
its toll.
So you played 10 years in South Korea. Was your teams in Seoul or was it outside of Seoul?
So my first contract was with a team in Daegu, which is the third largest city. And so I played there for 5 years. And then my brother was actually came after me and he played at Samsung. And when he left, they needed a guy like me. So I just came in. And so me and my brother, with Samsung's the biggest company in Korea. And so we have a good relationship because he played for 3 years. Then I came in on my free agency contract and played for 3 years. So it was they treat their players really well. It was great.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a major sponsor. I'm thinking about changing over from iPhone just in case
Come
you got
on.
the you got the plug. I'll give you my address
Yeah.
after the interview and all that. So
Uh,
yeah, you had mentioned a little bit about playing with a country patch on your chest. Like, I mean, that
right.
is the pinnacle of sports. I mean, even with like professional leagues, the NBA or the NFL
Mhm.
or Major League Soccer, there's still that's still the national team is still a step above. I mean, you want to just talk about your experience playing with that, and what competition did you compete in?
Yeah, I mean, like, we played against, the Iranian team in Asia is one of the biggest teams. So they had like Hadidi, who was an NBA player. Play against China. They had like, I forget, I can't even pronounce. I don't want to mess up the names, but Yi Lang,
Mhm.
Wang Juju. They had like some NBA guys. So when you're playing against this competition, my brother he got to play against the Dominican team with Al Horford. Dropped a 20 piece on Al Horford. But it's just great because where else am I going to be able to play against these guys? They're not running in the open gyms at SPU. So it's just as a player, you always want to play against the best, and if it's my one chance to play against some NBA guys, I want to show out, and you just really get hyped for those games. And when you beat those teams, it just feels really good. You know.
What competitions did you play in? Did you play in the Olympics? Did you play in the FIBA qualifiers? Or
So we almost, so with the Beijing Olympics, we made it to the Asian qualifiers. We won the East Asian Challenge. It's a whole step. It's a whole process to get to the Olympics. My brother was competing to go to the London Olympics after I left the national team. But yeah, we were in the Beijing qualifiers. We ended up losing to Iran. At that time, we had on our team we had a former NBA player, 7'4" Korean named Ha Seung-jin, and yeah, we just had some great memories, and it's great to play against all the best players in the country on the same team, because usually in our pro league we're playing against them, but it was nice to just all you become good friends traveling around with them and all that kind of stuff.
cool. You talked about the scheduling. Like, you guys played a lot of games. You have 10 teams. Here in Qatar, everybody would tell you, one, the money might be good to play, but one really downside of this league is really the lack of like competition, and also the
uh,
fact you'll walk into the gym, you look around, and there'll be like 30 people watching the game. I know South
right.
Korea, it's going down. I mean, you have the big screens, you have packed audiences, live entertainment. You want to talk about that aspect
Yeah,
of it as well before we get into like the public relations and marketing?
I mean the hype, so just playing at SPU, I mean we got it hyped for our small gym. We had the orange men jumping up and down and all that kind of stuff. But when I first came, so the 88 Olympics, that's where we play, the stadium for the 88 Olympics in Seoul. So I mean that's like 30,000 people. And when I played in the college championships, that was the first time I ever played against that many people. It was like, and our team was blue, that team was red. It looked like Crips and Bloods jumping up and down. It was nuts. I never felt that much excitement playing, because in Europe I was playing in smaller venues too. And then it's cool because then you just look on ESPN Korea, and you can watch the replay of your game, just to see yourself like that. Coming from the humble beginnings that I came from, is nuts. And you look on the Korean Google, which is called Naver, all your stats are out, all your highlights are out. Um, yeah, man, it's hype, and the All Star Games hype. All the K-pop stars come out and sing and dance, and it's just really weird. Like, from overseas basketball, what I was used to in Europe, playing in these small clubs, having a couple beers after the game, to, oh, now we're going to red carpet events with like movie stars and that kind of stuff. It's crazy. It's weird.
All right, so let's touch on a little bit about that. I mean, how did that impact your life? I mean, and what was like the processes? Did you have an agent starting to have you expand a little bit of some ventures outside of just basketball? I mean, I saw a couple of highlights where you and E were on like some kind of a game show or something, doing something, kicking a soccer ball or something.
Man,
but but I
it's
can only
crazy.
imagine.
Like,
I can't imagine because I've seen rises to fame and stuff from many different people around my circle. But I think if somewhere in Asia or in South Korea, it would be even more of a type of stardom. So I'm interested to take your take.
so it's just weird out here. The culture is not. We like sports, but the culture is all like kind of K-poppy. So um, this is the first time like I got all these fans, not because of not so much about basketball. Like that's cool, but it was like, oh, he's just different. He looks a certain way or whatever. And so then entertainment companies, especially E was getting like he was like you walk around like a freaking movie star. And so we were kind of had this thing where these American brothers, and we both looked alike. And our even when we played for the worst teams in the league, our games would have the biggest ratings because people wanted to see the matchup between me and Eric. And people thought we were cheating and like letting each other score because I would get up, I'd have like 20 something, Eric would have 30 something. And people thought you're just letting each other score, but just the ratings were crazy. And so a lot of entertainment companies approached us later to do stuff. So now we have a management company and we do a little bit here and there. And so yeah, it's been fun for life after basketball.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So have you been able to like leverage it more, and then, has it uh have you been able to do like what are you working on now as far as that? You said you have a team.
Well, so we were about to go on one of the biggest shows. It's the survival show where they were going to send us to Cuba with a bunch of other singers and actors and whatnot, and you just have to like fish and I don't know camp out and stuff. But then Corona happened, so Corona
Oh,
really took because me and Eric, everyone's got their niche in the entertainment industry, and the fact that me and Eric are more international and speak English, a lot of the travel shows wanted to, anything dealing with sports or travel or going and that kind of stuff. That was kind of me and Eric's niche, and Corona kind of put a beat down on that. But right now we're traveling around with like former KBL legends, and we're doing a YouTube. We're going on a third season. It's called Touch Play. Well, it's on YouTube. Check it out. And we just play against high school kids, the upcoming prospects, and then give stuff to charity. So it's for a good cause. And so that's kind of our project that we're into right now.
cool, 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 cool. That sounds good, amazing, man. I just have one more question. We wanted to circle back. What was your relationship with like the import American players, like as they came over? Obviously,
Man,
like I knew, like even playing in Qatar or other places, like to have like basically an American, a third American on the team is like gold because
yeah,
essentially the imports always kind of X each other out. But if you have the X factor
uh,
with somebody who can play
yeah.
basketball like yourself, then you'd win a lot more games. So what were the relationships between with you, and who were some of the players you play with imports?
So I mean, it just all depends because I played with so many imports. So
Did you did you
some of the
play
guys I
did
really
you play with my homeboy Vernon Macklin?
no, I didn't play
No.
with Vernon Macklin.
Okay.
No, I didn't play with him. My first year I had Corey Benjamin. I don't even remember
Yeah, I
him.
remember
He
Corey
played with the
Benjamin.
Bulls.
Yeah.
He's on that YouTube video talking trash to Michael Jordan. Um, but yeah, like I've had some really great imports that I really got along with and really wanted to. The difficult thing is me being a local player and them being an import. Yeah, like of course we're always going to go eat together. We're always going to go hang out together. But at the same time, I'm on a 5-year contract. Their mentality is different, right? Because they got to stuff that stat sheet to get another job, to keep their stock rising. So I've definitely, as a local player, I don't care, like I'm on a 5-year deal. So I'm not really so much worried about my stats. So it just depends. Some of the imports really want to win, and they know that if we all work together, we can take it to the top. And then some imports, that I had kind of shaky relationships, and I understand that mentality. You got to score 20 and 10 at least, to get to the next level. But a lot of times, like, over the years, but for the most part, you know, it was awesome. I could guide them around Korea, and it's always good to have people from home.
All right, all right, all right. So just one last question before we move on. Like, if I was to come to Seoul, like,
Uh-huh.
what would we get into? Like, what I mean, tourist attractions, or like, is it shopping, or is it like, is there natural attractions? Is there like scenery, or what's going on in Seoul? So
Man,
is it cold right now?
man, it snowed yesterday. Yeah, it's really cold. But you said, if you ever come to Korea, just I got you, man. Like, well, I'll take you around. There's definitely great food, great like, like street culture. There's like a lot of stuff doesn't close here, so you know you can be out having, well, now because of COVID, but normally you can be out till 6, 8 in the morning. There's a lot of good stuff. Natural attractions, you're probably going to want to leave the city for that, but we got a good coastline. Yeah, I mean, it's got something for everything. It's a great experience. All of my friends that have come to Korea have said it was one of the most interesting, coolest things that they've had.
Sounds good. I mean, I've been to Taiwan. I've been to Thailand, Vietnam, East Asia. Never been to
Yeah,
China, but you never know, man. Maybe hopefully when everything gets back to some kind of functioning normality, then we can put that on
yeah.
the list, my man. Hey, I
All
appreciate you
right.
coming on the show, my man. And why don't you shout out your social media, where people can follow your that YouTube channel you was talking about, and if you want to shout out any of your Instagram or Twitter or anything that you're on, Facebook handles.
Yeah, you can hit me. My Instagram is Danny Crab Claws. Danny Crab Claws. So, and then me and my brother actually do a English language podcast out here as well. Aside from other stuff, just kind of messing around, hanging out with some of our friends. It's called Phase Two. So yeah, check it out.
Phase two, and that is that on YouTube or is it on?
It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
It's on a whole bunch of stuff. So
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. Well, maybe I'll put a link to it this in the description below, and yeah,
yeah,
we
and you
can
got to
have you.
come on and be a guest
Yeah,
sometime.
let's do it, man. I'd love to come on, man. I'd love to come on.
All right.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show again, man. Best of luck with your 3-on-3 career and all your public relations and marketing. Hopefully, you can go over there to was it Cuba, which you're doing a survival show?
Yeah, yeah. We'll
Man,
see.
that would
We'll
have been
see.
nice, man. That would have been nice. That would have been nice. But hopefully next year or something, or towards the end of this year, you can get back to normal. I appreciate it again, Danny, and all our audience. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you like the content that you heard today. And